Hey everybody, Nina here of She Knows SEO, and today we're going to be talking about HARO, specifically reverse HARO. Now, I don't know if that's like the real name for it or whatever, but it is a name that Jared Bauman of Niche Pursuits and The Weekend Growth shared that I think is so good, so I'm using it now. I'm co-opting that word. So what are we doing? What's happening? If you've never seen HARO before, this is HARO. It is where you can be a source for journalists, or you can be a journalist and collect sources. Now, for bloggers, we're kind of both. Typically, the use case that I see from most bloggers is they will go in here and they will try to be a source for journalists. So journalists will pitch every week and say, hey, actually it's 3 times a day, but I tend to only look at it once a week. They'll say like, hey, I need to know more about the Paris bedbug situation. Have you ever stayed somewhere with bedbugs? And you can tell like what the focus of their post or their article is going to be based on their post with HARO. So you're going to pitch a response and you might get cited in some amazing publication. Forbes, the Washington Post, the New York Times, Business Insider, like all these big places sometimes source from here. So because of that, it's a great opportunity to build your brand, to get some backlinks, maybe backlinks, not always, usually it's just a mention, but to get some authority in your niche. Ideally, you want to answer questions in your niche. That's a whole other can of worms though. But the way that I've actually preferred to use it, because I hate responding to things on HARO. Like, I just don't do it. I straight up do not do it. In fact, I paid an exorbitant amount of money to a company for them to do it. It was about $6,000, I think, for about 10 links there. And yeah, I just didn't want to do this. So I did that instead. I will have another video on that later. Don't worry, guys. But the way I do it is I actually act as a journalist instead. So I will come to HARO and I will actually ask other people to pitch my site, to be an expert on my site. And this is something that got brought up in a Niche Pursuits interview, and then I think also in like a Spaces thing on Twitter between Tony Hill and Jared Bauman. That was really, really great. I don't know if it's still out there, but if it is, go listen to it. And one thing they mentioned was this method, because with the recent helpful content update, we need to put ourselves as an expert with our brand. Anything we cannot be an expert on, we need to source experts. I've seen people on Twitter hiring people to do this and spending over $5,000 to have experts review their articles. I would rather not spend $5,000 personally. And this method has had great success for me in the past, and I think it will going forward too. Okay, so we're going to log in, and now you'll get to basically your account details area. I've just blurred my sensitive information because that's my stuff. And so here you're going to be able to select what you are. I've just always had all 3 selected. I've never sponsored anything with them. I haven't paid for an ad, so it's irrelevant, but mainly I can do source and reporter. And this is going to allow me to both accept pitches and to basically pitch myself, I guess. That was kind of the wrong way to phrase it. To post ads and respond to ads, I guess is the best way to say it. So here you can just see like the settings that you're going to have for your site. They'll be pretty similar. We're not going to go into detail on that. What you then want to do is go to My Queries. My Queries is where you're actually going to be able to submit queries, or these like ad kind of things, the way I think of them, to HARO to get people to respond. So here you can see that I've done a couple. It's been a little while since I've done them, but these did so well for this site. Like, it really helped. The one that got 87 responses, yeah, that was a ton of free products. So what I did, and I learned this from my friend Jessie on a journey, and it is one of the coolest things that like she taught me early on, was basically, you can come on here and say, hey, I'm doing a gift guide. Please send me stuff. Send me product. Send me stuff that I can then use and write a gift guide on. And back then I was broke, like so broke. So I couldn't afford to buy the stuff on Amazon to do this. And genuinely, like, my site was not getting traffic, so I couldn't have asked for paid stuff either. So I was just happy to get stuff. And because it was something on my niche topic that's helpful to my blog, I was able to get a ton of useful things that I still use to this day. Is that post up on my site anymore? I don't actually think so. Honestly, I think I took it down because I don't think it ranked. But it was up there for a while. And some of these other ones were quotes for posts where I would say, okay, I have this post. Please contribute some expert quotes on your opinions, your experiences on these things. And it works very, very well. So let's talk about how you actually submit it. Over here, you'll see submit query. I don't know why it keeps highlighting things, but then it's going to let you select what your media outlet is. This will be the media outlet that you set up the account with. So that's where it is going to need the specifics of what your account is. Then I always put the URL. You can keep it anonymous, but I have found that even having my URL, like even back when my site had no DA, no nothing of note, people still applied for it. And like businesses especially, they do not care about your DA. I think a lot of people think anyone pitching posting an ad, I guess, on HARO is someone super fancy, but we can all do it for free. So yeah, I don't know why we all think that everyone's fancy. So I've still got plenty of stuff, even with like 5,000 page views a month. And I think my DA was fine. Like it was probably 20 something, but I think it was 14 back then. I don't remember. It was something mediocre. So it was not something that would like make or break somebody's decision. The summary is going to be that like kind of subject line you almost see where it's with each HARO call. So it would be like, okay, avoiding Paris bed bugs, tips for getting rid of bed bugs, something like that. That's what you would write here. The query is going to be the top part of the HARO ad, basically, where it's going to kind of summarize like what is the purpose of this, where is it going to go. You can add any detail you want here. So for me, when I did my call for free stuff, which I'm sure a lot of you want to do, so that's what I'm going to focus on right now, is I basically said like, this is my site, I'm going to be writing this type of guide, and I would like to review some products from different businesses. Then in the requirements, that's where you get specific. So the thing that I didn't do that I should have done was that I should have said, must be able to ship to Canada. A lot of people don't assume you're in Canada, so do like specify if you're not in the US. But also specify things like no bloggers. I know it sucks when we see that, but like if they don't have a product, they don't have a product. And oddly, like this is kind of the cool thing too. Being on this side of HARO, when you get the responses from other people, you will learn very quickly what a good or bad response is, much better than you ever will from being in any course or taking any masterclass on it. Just seeing like a sheer like 50 mass of them in your inbox and being like, I don't want to look at half of these, you will get in that mindset so much more. So I actually also think this helps you pitch HARO stuff as well. But here you would say any specifications. Now, if it's for a post, you can then say like, do they have to require, like, did they send an image? Did they have to send individual quotations? Are you going to do a phone interview with them? Like, there's tons of options here. It's really going to be whatever you specifically need of them. This is like the requirements in the job listing. The query is like kind of the job listing itself of what's going on, context sort of stuff. You can also specifically say that you will offer a link back if you want. I believe I did with my most recent one, but I think I've varied each time. It kind of depends on the post, but you're just going to write whatever you write there. Then you can request a specific date or time slot. And this is going to give you, like, you see they have the 3 that they send out each day. It might mean that you end up in one of them. You can then select the date as well. Now, they get a lot of requests. So it's not going to be like, okay, you select tomorrow morning and it's automatically going to happen. It might, but they're going to prioritize the ones they already have and things with a short deadline. The great thing is this is built for reporters, so they have a section down here for you to put in the due date and the time it has to be submitted, like the responses to this, so that you could then theoretically go and like write it before it gets published. And that's where the urgent button can come in as well. It's like if this like really needs to be done, I'd say within a week, then I would hit this. Typically, they will publish yours within a week, but if you have like a strict deadline, then I would do that. If you abuse that, I'm sure they'll get mad at you, so don't do it too often. And then you're going to select the category. And this is how they break out their email, is like what section you're going to be in, and it just helps like people figure out what is the relevant area. Most of us are probably going to use travel. I believe the gift bag is like, I actually don't know what gift bag is. I don't think that was there when I did this. I'm pretty sure I just did travel. But you can like literally just look at the last email you got from them to figure out which category you should use. You can put them in 2. I've only ever put mine in 1, so therefore I just put it in travel. And then you'll just submit the query. You'll then get an email that says it's been submitted. If you didn't, then something went wrong. I've never had it go wrong, but just in case. And then you won't really know when it goes out till it goes out. And then suddenly your inbox is going to be flooded with responses. And again, you will learn what is a good response and what is a bad response from reading them, but it will take a minute to read through them. Now, for most of us who are going to be using this, we have a blog. So we cannot request guest posts. They will deny that. You can only request quotes. So like I think about 300 words of content or something is their requirement. It's got to be pretty short. Even though some people will write you a freaking novel as a response, you should specify that, like, you should know that it should be short. So I recommend specifying, do you want a paragraph? Do you want individual quotes? Are there certain questions you want people to respond to? For example, if I was to do, I don't know, a like health and wellness post about like the 10 tips doctors give to avoid blood clots on planes or something, I don't know, I would need a doctor for that. That's definitely YMYL. So if I had 10 doctors write in and tell me this, I'm set. I don't have to like now call up a bunch of doctors near my house. I'm going to get experts talking about this. But it depends on, do I want them to do a full paragraph on this, or do I want them to specifically all reference something in particular? Like they all need to reference what the percentage like benefit of this is. They need to reference if this is Western or Eastern medicine. I don't know, I'm making stuff up. But you got to be specific. Kind of like when you're prompting AI, you got to give it the format if you want it to be in a certain format, and if you want certain things answered. Usually people will like allow some back and forth for answers, but this is just kind of common courtesy. So yeah, this is how you would very, very easily get free stuff and free expert advice for your blog so that you can rank better in the search results and so that you can just get some cool free stuff. I think at time of recording, like in mid-October, this is probably the latest I would push it to get content or get items for a gift guide for Christmas. The problem is they still have to get shipped to you. You then have to like take photos with them, review them, use them for a minute. So you'd want to get the post up first a little bit and then maybe add this stuff after if you can. Or if you have an existing post, this is fine. Personally, I would try and get everything in September so the post has time to rank. With Google Discover, we have some leeway with that, but you want to try and get it like going early as well. And then just give yourself time to write it too. Don't be like, I don't know, December 4th trying desperately to get this thing out in time. It's probably just not the best ROI. So instead, I would do this a little ahead of time. You can also do it for gift guides throughout the year, but Christmas gift guides tend to be a time when brands are like ready to send you stuff. So I hope this helped you a lot. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them in the chat or I don't know what it's called. Leave them in the comment area. For more cool tips like this on different ways that you can get cool backlinks for yourself and find cool stuff for your site, I really recommend joining my SEO Roadmap course. It is marketed to travel bloggers, but we let everyone in and only a couple lessons are travel specific. But I teach things like this. I've been teaching this for a while actually because, yeah, it's a fun thing to do and it's a great way to get more sources for your blog outside of some Facebook groups that maybe only a few people are in. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and I will see you very, very soon back on my channel.